Welcome to the deep dive. You're keen to get a quick but solid handle on different career scenes. So today, we're comparing teaching, specifically the USA versus Shenzhen, China.
Yeah, we've got some really interesting insights from someone who's actually taught in both American middle and high schools, and then also got a close look at Shenzhen's setup.
Right. So our mission really is to give you a clear comparison. The teaching vibe, the pay, the whole experience. And there are some surprising bits. Okay, let's start with the transition, like getting into it. In the U.S., the word is often rigid, micromanagement, burnout.
Uh-huh. That rigidity, those top-down rules,
Yeah.
it can feel like teachers aren't really trusted, as professionals.
And then Shenzhen, it might be a bit dizzying at first, but the overall feel seems more laid back, especially schools going for that American standard.
Yeah, it seems like new teachers might actually get more freedom there, which is interesting.
Okay, but let's dig into the U.S. challenges first. This source really points to, well, micromanagement again. Admins, school boards, telling teachers how to teach.
And that feeling of teacher opinions just being ignored. Plus, yeah, those crazy expectations boost test scores, but no real resources to do it. It shows a gap, right, between the office and the classroom.
Totally. And the pay structure sounds so inflexible in the U.S. based on years served, not like how good you are or if you teach a high-demand subject.
Right.
We heard about this principal, desperate for a teacher, but stuck offering only $62,000 in a super expensive city. It just shows how the system can't always compete for talent.
Exactly. And the fact that, only like 22% of public schools pay extra for science teachers, it really highlights that mismatch. Pay doesn't follow need.
And then there's all the bloatware, as
Yeah.
our source called it.
Yeah.
Equity initiatives, mission statements, accreditation stuff, endless tasks taking away from actual teaching.
Yeah, it's just the focus can get kind of blurry away from the core job.
So what does this mean for you listening? Well, it hints that U.S. schools sometimes get bogged down in things around education, not just education itself. Okay, now, Shenzhen. It's not just one thing, right? Different kinds of places to teach.
Right. First, you've got training centers, mostly tutoring younger kids, like 5 to 12, mainly English.
Sounds more relaxed. Evening, Saturday.
Yeah, schedule's easier, lower bar to get in. But the pay reflects that. Maybe $2,000, $2,500 a month. Good start, maybe. But maybe not great for a long-term U.S. career track.
Okay. Then the established international schools. Been around a while. Accredited.
Yeah, like CIS or IB accredited, they usually want proper licenses. More bureaucratic, maybe less wiggle room on contracts, but reliable HR. Pays moderate, say $3,500, $4,000, plus benefits housing, insurance, usually.
So more stable than there are the startup international schools.
The new kids on the block, often further out, still figuring things out. Standards might be looser. Teachers might have more say initially. Pay can be higher, maybe $4,000, $5,000.
But riskier.
Definitely potential for instability. You got to watch out for scams sometimes, too.
Okay, and colleges.
Yeah, lecturer spots, especially for English. You might not even need a PhD if you have connections. For English, at least. Other subjects usually want a PhD, heavy focus on research. Pay for non-research roles, maybe lower, like $2,500 a month, sometimes hourly, but flexible hours. Though some wariness about foreigners in labs was mentioned.
Interesting point. Subject teachers, not English, seem more valued in Shenzhen. Or more.
Yeah, significantly more, like 50% more sometimes. Chinese schools really look for that subject degree, that expertise, not like the U.S. focus on an education degree. So if you majored in, say, physics.
Your stock might be higher there.
Okay.
So a day in Shenzhen.
Yeah.
Starts earlier, like 8 a.m.
Yep. But then there's that massive midday break, like 1.5, 2 hours, meals provided, even nap time.
Wow. Big difference from a rushed U.S. lunch break.
Totally. And lots of paper and pencil still, even with tech in the room. Getting new lab gear or art supplies ordered. Sounds like it can be a bit of a hassle.
And cameras everywhere.
Uh-huh. Surveillance is common. And don't expect a huge U.S.-style sports scene, though gyms are usually there. Oh, and yeah, be ready for sudden changes, schedules, grading, even students popping in or out.
Okay. Hiring. How does that work in Shenzhen?
Sounds like a mix. Online applications, but also networking. Less formal verification maybe than the U.S. Timelines can be quick, especially for training centers and startups.
And the big one, negotiation. Unlike those fixed U.S. scales.
Huge difference. Your university, your subject knowledge, even being a native speaker, that all plays in. You can potentially negotiate salary, maybe push it up 20%. Also schedule, course load, overtime pay, personal days.
So really read that staff handbook before signing.
Absolutely crucial. Demo lessons are common too. Having a portfolio, licenses, diplomas, good reviews, that helps. But watch out for last-minute contract changes too.
Okay, but what if you want to switch schools within Shenzhen? Sounds tricky.
Yeah, more complicated than just quitting in the US. Your work permit, your residence permit, they're tied to the school. You need a release letter.
From the old school.
Right. And the new school's HR has to resubmit everything to the government. Things can go wrong. Your old school might make trouble, or the new HR might mess up.
Right, and so it's a really stark contrast, isn't it?
Yeah.
The U.S. regulated, sometimes frustrating, fixed pay. Shenzhen, more fluid, maybe more money, but also more unpredictable.
Definitely. From pay to daily life to what qualifications matter, it's just really different.
So the big question for you listening, what values do you think are fundamental for a good education system?
Yeah.
And looking at these two, which one feels more aligned with your values, even with all the challenges?
Yeah, and maybe what could teachers in the U.S. learn from Shenzhen and vice versa? Something to think about. That's your deep dive. Thanks for tuning in.